TikTok will be banned in the United States by January.
TikTok is getting banned in the US.
Breaking news, TikTok will be banned in the United States on January 19th.
This can't be happening, right?
After the Senate last night passed a bill to sell the app or be banned in the U.S., lawmakers in both parties say TikTok poses a serious national security risk.
Where are we going to go if TikTok does get banned? For real, where do we go?
It's 2025 and are we even serious about it? This is not a joke anymore. And why there are so many people supporting this decision while others are hating it clearly. I mean, half of America just wakes up and the app is just gone from their phone. Just poof. This has never been happened before. Like never. And we've been hearing about this thing for months and months now. And it seems like it's almost done. Until I saw this.
How do you plan to stop the ban on TikTok next month?
We'll take a look at TikTok. You know, I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. There are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that.
Alright, so this is a story that I want to tell. Every scroll, like, and share on TikTok generates data. But who controls that data and why does that matter? So TikTok's parent company ByteDance is based in China. And that's enough to make some governments nervous about where all the data, like what we watch, what we scroll, is going. But is that fear justified? TikTok isn't the only app that's collecting the data. Think about Facebook, Instagram, Google. These platforms gather as much data, if not more, personal information. And yet we're not seeing massive governments crack down on any of these companies in the same way as they're doing on TikTok. So the question is why TikTok is being singled out. I mean, if TikTok knows how long I spend watching dog videos, is that really a threat to national security? Or is there more to this story? And this is where the conspiracy theories and speculations kick in. Some people argue that it's less about protecting your data and more about geopolitical tensions. The US and China, for example, have been in this prolonged trade war and tech rivalry. And it seems like TikTok could become a convenient scapegoat in this global power struggle. Or maybe the app's rapid rise in popularity has made other social media giants and the governments backing them nervous about losing the control and their influence. And then there's also this cultural angle. Like TikTok's algorithm is so advanced that it's shaping trends and influencing public opinion faster than I have seen any other platform do it. For governments, that level of control over what people see and think might be unsettling. After all, who really holds the rein when an app's content reaches millions in a few seconds? But before going deeper, I want to pause here and ask the same question again. Is it really all about the data? Or is there something much bigger going on underneath? Like, have you ever noticed that you casually search for a vacation spot and suddenly your entire feed is flooded with hotel ads? Like, that's data collection 101. And it's been happening for years and years now. So I want to start us off with ByteDance, which is a Chinese brand owning TikTok. And many Western governments are uncomfortable with the idea of a foreign app, especially one from China, gaining this much control over the data, trends, and even culture. It's not just paranoia, it's geopolitics at its finest. Just think about it. TikTok is an app for young people, shaping how an entire generation consumes content and connect with the world. And while platforms like Meta are massive, they're also aging. TikTok has this unparalleled appeal to Gen Z and millennials, and that thing has just taken over. It's not just an app anymore. It's a cultural phenomenon. And this thing brings us to the algorithm debate. So algorithm is a key part of TikTok's dominance. Like, think about TikTok's algorithm as kind of like a mind reader, but on steroids. It knows you, really knows you. But does that mean it's also dangerous enough? While Instagram and YouTube might rely on your search history or social network, TikTok doesn't need any of that. It is so advanced that it learns from your preferences purely from your behavior on the app. And this level of sophistication is revolutionary, but also very scary. Like, TikTok doesn't just entertain, it also influences. Whether it's driving viral challenges, trends, or even shaping political discourse, the app has enormous sway. And for governments wary of Chinese influence, this is a red flag. They fear that TikTok could manipulate narratives or sway opinions in ways that we might not even notice. But if TikTok is such a threat, why hasn't it been banned yet? And why does the response feel so divided between the audience as well? Political rivalry between the Democrats and the Republicans have been on the rise. But seeing both sides agreed on the ban of TikTok is also worth noticing. When it comes to TikTok, the political wings have put aside their political differences and agreed on a course. Seriously, I mean, that could be a pointer, and it's really concerning. Countries like India, Senegal, Bangladesh, Russia, Afghanistan, Iran, New Zealand, Italy, Canada, Pakistan, Belgium have all placed restriction or in some cases full ban on TikTok in their respective countries. And some of these countries are Chinese allies. The question in the heart of many could be, with Trump winning the US election, could there be any hope for TikTok? In 2020, Donald Trump was staunchly against TikTok, pushing to ban the app on the grounds of national security, claiming it could steal personal data and pose a threat to US interest.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok. We may be doing some other things. There are a couple of options. We are looking at a lot of alternatives with respect to TikTok.
However, as the election reapproached and TikTok's influence on younger voters became undeniable, the app had quickly evolved into a powerful platform for political engagement, especially among the youth, helping mobilize young people for their social causes and political campaigns. And this demographic became increasingly vital to Trump's chances, and TikTok's role in shaping their views was clear. And since then, Trump's stance on TikTok has notably shifted.
How do you plan to stop the ban on TikTok next month?
We'll take a look at TikTok. I have a warm spot in my heart for TikTok because I won youth by 34 points. There are those that say that TikTok had something to do with that.
With his victory in 2024 elections, he also understands the powerful influence of young voters as an essential demographic in the election cycle. The platform was a key space for political engagement, activism, and dissemination of political content, especially among the younger generation. With millions of people using TikTok daily to discuss political issues, their voting rights, sharing the messages, the influence has been hard to ignore. And TikTok's leadership has been pushing to delay any ban until after Trump's swearing in, with the hope that he would lift the ban. What once was a straightforward security issue has now become a nuanced political calculation. And this isn't just about politics anymore. It's about the people that TikTok will affect the most. But in reality, if TikTok were to disappear tomorrow, the ripple effect would be massive. This isn't just an app for silly dances and memes anymore. For millions of people, it became a livelihood. Imagine if you're a small business owner and you have figured out a way to reach thousands, maybe even millions of potential customers without spending a fortune in ads, without giving millions of dollars to Mark Zuckerberg and Google. TikTok isn't just a platform anymore, it's a game changer. Now you also need to think about the creators. There's a lot of hate about the type of creators that we have on the platform, but for many of them, TikTok isn't just a hobby, it's a career. They've built entire communities, crafted personal brands, and even paid their bills thanks to this app. If TikTok gets banned, they're not just losing a follower count, they're losing income, they're losing stability, and in many cases, a sense of purpose. It's not just an exaggeration to say that TikTok is their lifeline. And I also don't want to ignore the regular users, like people like you and me who scroll through the app to laugh, to learn, and just escape from the reality for a little bit. In a world that's increasingly stressful, apps like TikTok offer a much needed breather. Losing it would feel like losing a piece of our daily routine, that one thing that brings a little joy or distraction when it feels overwhelming. But here's where things get a little bit more complicated. Should we prioritize personal freedom, or do governments have a point about security risk? On one hand, banning TikTok feels like an overreach, but on the other hand, if it's about national interest and if it's all about national security, it should be a yes. People should have a right to choose how they engage with the technology. Who gets to decide what is safe and what isn't? And if we start banning app because of potential risk, where does it end? When are we going to see Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, all of them getting banned? But also on this side, all the concerns that have been raised so far are not entirely baseless. If there's even a small chance that sensitive user data could be misused, isn't it government's job to step in and protect the citizens? And if TikTok's influence is truly as powerful as some people claim, doesn't that warrant caution? So this is actually a tug of war between personal freedom and national security that has put everybody in between in an uncomfortable spot. But one thing is for sure, the people caught in the middle, the users, the creators, the businesses, they're the ones who stand to lose the most. While TikTok faces increasing scrutiny and pressure from governments worldwide, its competitors like Meta and Google are strategically positioned to benefit from any potential bans. The irony here lies in the fact that these tech giants are employing very similar algorithms and data collection practices as TikTok, yet they are largely immune to the same level of criticism and geopolitical controversy. TikTok's success is largely driven by its powerful algorithm that tailors content to the user's preferences, creating highly engaging and personalized feed. And TikTok's algorithm is eerily similar to Facebook and Instagram and Google's YouTube. They've been collecting users' data for years now, while they've faced criticism for privacy violation, such as the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The scrutiny has not been as intense as the geopolitical storm surrounding TikTok. So what exactly is the difference between TikTok and all the competitors? While Meta and Google's algorithm raise privacy concerns of their own, TikTok's Chinese ownership and its ties to Chinese government have introduced a whole new layer of fear, positioning the app as a political weapon in the ongoing war between US and China. The geopolitical baggage has fueled the demand for TikTok's ban, despite the fact that its competitors are doing essentially the same thing in terms of data collection and algorithm-driven data curation. A TikTok ban won't end the data privacy concern. It just might shift the debate, making us question whether it's all about protecting people or it's about protecting power. TikTok's ability to shape trends and influence politics and gather massive amounts of data makes it a key player in the fight for the future of internet. The outcome of this struggle, however, will determine who holds the reins of digital power worldwide. The TikTok may be just an app, but how can you explain a global fight over it? It's definitely about power and influence and the battle of controlling and owning the digital space. A lot of people hate TikTok, and a lot of people don't like the silly challenges and the stupidity that you see sometime on the app. But at the end of the day, it should be a personal preference. Do I want to use TikTok? The answer is no. Do you want to use TikTok? Maybe the answer is yes. You and I should be able to decide what we want to use and what we don't want to use. You and I should be able to decide which type of content I want to consume and which type of content you would want to consume. But for TikTok, the question is it just another app that got caught in the middle of the global power struggle, or is there a genuine reason for a concern? If TikTok disappears, what does that mean for millions of creators, businesses, and users who have built their lives around it? Is the government going to do anything about that? Has the government already considered what the outcome is going to look like? But one thing is for sure, this story is far from over. Whether TikTok survives or platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube takes over, the battle for control over the digital space is only going to get started. Maybe 2025 is going to be wild for TikTok and influencers, but maybe not. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon in the next. Peace out.